Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old, has become very collectible, and is becoming increasingly more difficult to find pretty much in any condition. We are looking at the 1978 release by Brown and Watson from their Dick Barton Special Agent series of annuals. And this particular one was released in late 1978 for the upcoming 1979 year. And it's all based on the television programme, or the revival of Dick Barton, if you like, which became a television programme in 1979, or 78 for 79. But it was all based on the original Dick Barton programme, which was a radio thriller that was broadcast on the BBC between October 1946 and March 1951. It was aired in 15-minute episodes, 6:45 initially, and then later at 6:15 each weekday evening from 11th of January 1947. And there was an additional omnibus edition repeated all of the week's programmes each Saturday morning between 11 and 12. Now, in all, 711 episodes were produced, and the serial achieved a peak audience of 20 million viewers. So massive audience figures. And remember, this is radio. So the series followed the adventures of the ex-commando, Captain Richard Barton, with his mates Jock Anderson and Snowy White. And together they solved all sorts of crimes, escaped from dangerous situations, and saved the nation from disaster time and time again. Now, in 1979, Southern Television, one of the smaller ITV network companies, decided to make a series of Dick Barton Special Agents, TV series, which ran in an early evening slot on the ITV network. And just like the original on radio, it ran in 15-minute segments, and was once again accompanied by the same familiar theme tune. The titles playing against an animated dagger and target motive, and the production was blighted by financial troubles, though, and some critics said it was a mistake to try and resurrect the character, as it didn't really do very well on the TV as a television series. It was much better as a radio serial, apparently. So the cast of the show was Tony Vogel, who played Dick Barton, Anthony Heaton as Snowy White, and James Cosmo as Jock Anderson. And there was John Gattrell as Sir Richard Marley. There was 32 15-minute episodes, which were transmitted by most of the ITV networks on Saturday and Sundays between Jan and April 1979. And there was also Southern TV also screened the show across consecutive nights from Mondays through to Thursday in the radio series original time slot, which was 6:45 to 7 p.m. Sadly, though, the series wasn't that popular, and hence the reason why it come to an abrupt end after the first series was finished. But this book is based on that television programme, and this is the front cover, and it says Dick Barton Special Agent Annual, and there you can see an image of the three main characters. There's Dick, Jock and Snowy White standing beside Dick Barton's vehicle. So that's the front cover. If I just turn it over to the back, what have we got on the back? And we got the same again. We got Dick, Snowy and Jock, and it says Dick Barton Special Agent. And you've got the Rainbow Book logo at the bottom left-hand corner. If you just have a look at the spline, it says Dick Barton Special Agent, and you've got the Brown and Watson logo at the bottom there. Okay, so that is the front and back covers. Let's open the book up now, and let's see what we got printed on the inside. Okay, so I've opened it up, and the first page we've got inside the front cover, you've got the three characters, Jock, Dick Barton and Snowy White. It's a Dick Barton Special Agent Annual, published by Brown and Watson, a Howard and Wyndham Company, 135 Warrior Street, London, and printed in Holland. Copyright 1978, D-Mob Limited, pages 7 to 12, 52, 53, 60 of photographs, courtesy of the BBC. And at the bottom right-hand corner, you've got the £1.50 price tag, which is what it costs back in 1978. Okay, let's move on. So there's no index or anything on this. You just go straight into the story, and the first story is a kind of like a monocolour story, but it is in comic strip format, and it says an explosive situation, a beautiful day in a peaceful Kent countryside, hardly the time or place to expect a violent kidnapping, and yet Professor Alfred Neal suddenly finds himself forcibly dragged from his country cottage. There we go, and that runs for 3 pages. Dick Barton, Genius or Hero, and that goes back to the very beginning where they are making the TV or the radio program there, and it shows you images from that show. A little bit of pen mark on there, I don't know where that's come from. So it goes on in some detail about the making of the original radio show, right up until we come back to the TV series, and it's the same images that we had at the front there. And then we're continuing on from the comic strip, the explosive situation. This is part 2, and the same, it's monocolour, and it runs for 3 pages. I think they've tried to do this book in format, so it's like 15 minutes reading, and then you move on. So it's done in sections, I think. So anyway, then we got Meet TV's Dick Barton, which is Tony Vogel, the special agent who wants to be a farmer. There we go, and there's some information about him. And there's Jock and Snowy there as well. And then we've got another story, which is Danger from the Depths, and this is a full story. And there's some some colour illustrations, artwork illustrations there, and that runs for about 5 pages. And there's another image there of Dick Barton again. Doesn't seem like they have much content to put into this book, so they keep using the same photographs over and over again, I think. Part 3 of the story, an explosive situation, and it's gone into colour on the first page, but then it seems to go back to monocolour. Oh, it's colour again on the 3rd page, so maybe it is colour all the way through. And again, similar image again from the, I think we've seen this image that was on the cover. And then we go on to Who is Dick Barton, and it tells you about the character Dick Barton, and the 2 men who answer the call, which is Jock and Snowy, which are Dick Barton's right-hand men. And there's again very, very similar images, but it gives you the background of them. You've got the rules of conduct for the police or the special agents. It says Barton is intelligent as well as hard-hitting. He relies as much upon brains as upon brawl. Anthony Heaton, alias Snowy White, and that's a background on him. And again, there's some image of him playing the part. Murder Mansion, and that's another comic strip story, which is with colour illustrations. That's 3 pages. And then we got another image of the 3 main characters there, photograph images. And there's an image of Jock Anderson, or James Cosmo, who plays the part. Help Dick Barton find the time bomb, and that's just a simple maze, very, very simple to do, but it hasn't been done, which is fortunate. And again, another picture of Dick Barton, and then Murder Mansion Part 2, and from colour it's gone now to monocolour, and that runs for 3 pages again. And then we got the first Dick Barton, who was played by Noel Johnson, the very first actor to play the part, and that was obviously on radio. Another image again, seemed to be all based around the car and in the trees these photographs were taken, but there we are. Pictures of Peril, which is the next story, which is a full story with artwork images to accompany the story, and that runs for 3 pages. And again, there's photographs there of early characters who played Dick Barton on the radio, in the radio production. And again, from left to right, Gordon Davis, Duncan Corse, Noel Johnson, and Tony Vogel, who are the 4 faces of Dick Barton. Obviously, the top 3 were all on the radio, and Tony Vogel was on the TV series. Murder Mansion Part 3, again in monocolour, and that brings us to the end of the book. Okay, that is Dick Barton, Special Agent. Now you're going to say to me, well, okay, Dick Barton, Special Agent, how well did this book do back in the day? Well, to be absolutely honest, I don't think he'd done that well at all. The series was not a big hit. It ran for just that one season, those 32 15-minute episodes, which is a very, very short run, really, 15 minutes. If you imagine that a normal serial would run for about 45 minutes. So 32 divided by 6, and you get 8. So it would only be 8 episodes if it was a full TV series. So not a particular long series, really. Not very popular. Maybe that's to do with it was airing in Sunday tea times. Maybe it wasn't a great time to air it. I don't know, but it certainly wasn't very popular. Fell flat on its face. Critics were not great with it, and consequently it didn't get the go-ahead for a second season. This particular annual, well, this is the only one that was ever produced for Dick Barton, obviously based on a TV series, and yeah, I'm guessing it didn't do overly well because the TV series was not that popular. And there was many other popular television series at the show that spawned annuals that were extremely popular. This one did not appear to be very popular at all, and hence the reason why it didn't get a second annual. Okay, so let's move forward to 2025, which is where we are today. So we're moving forward 46 years. Do these come up for sale very often on the platforms nowadays? And the answer to that is no. You very rarely see a Dick Barton Special Agent annual pop up on any platform. When they do, well, condition is always an issue. For me, with my annuals and my magazines and my comics and so on, I try to get them as close to mint condition as possible. I know a lot of the collectors also do that. So, you need to be a bit careful because there's lots of them that do get lots of different types of annuals and comics and so on that get offered up on the platforms in various different states of condition. So be very, very careful. Because somebody's idea of very good condition could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. There's a big scope of differences on the platforms, so again, be careful. But I always try and buy my annuals and my comics and so on as close to pristine as I possibly can get. For me, it's all about quality and condition. But as I say, sadly, didn't do exceptionally well, and overall, for a show that was incredibly popular on radio, is a shame, really, because but then again, you're moving on from generations. I mean, the people that were listening to the TV show in the 40s and 50s, well, they would have moved on, and it would have been their kids or maybe even their grandchildren in the 70s that were listening, that were watching Dick Barton. Different generations, different times, different interests. So maybe that's the reason why. As I say, a lot of critics said it was a mistake to try and bring back a dated program, but they did, and it didn't do very well, and so neither did the annuals. So, but to cut a long story short, they don't come up for sale very often on the platforms. When they do, it's all about conditions, so do be wary of that, as I've said. And don't forget, some of the platforms use stock images, so you could be looking at a very, very good condition one, as this one is. But if there's no new available, they automatically go to the cheapest used. So do be careful. If it doesn't say new and it says used, click that used link and read what they're about to tell you. Otherwise, you could be disappointed when it arrives. Now, alternatively, you can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you will receive should you wish to purchase it. And this particular item is available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, but we do only have one copy of this annual. As I say, it's quite difficult to find these days, so if it is something that you're interested in, I wouldn't hang around. I'd go straight to the website and order it ASAP, because I don't expect it's going to be here for very long. But it is available to purchase, and you can get there very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage annuals and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on our website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something old you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that's it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this vintage Dick Barton Special Agent Annual with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.